When reading your bio, and again we refer to your bio, which is very extensive, what is evident is obviously with your various committee roles and advisory positions that you must be involved in a lot of interesting conversations, and those conversations and those discussions give you perspective. Is there anything that from obviously we're very interested in the SME space, is there anything that you think is relevant or emerging that you've seen as a trend from some of those discussions that you think would potentially help the SMEs in the coming months or years in their space, or that maybe you feel that they really should be focusing on?
It's an interesting question. Well, as we've said, we live in interesting times, and that presents opportunities. And one of the areas I'm particularly interested in is is where property meets technology. And we, for instance, run an incubator here for startups, for tech startups that have an idea or a business that's relevant for the legal services space. So through that and through mentoring for Pi Labs, I actually see quite a lot of the new startups and get to talk to a lot of the guys that have new ideas. And I think it's an incredible time because all these new ideas are emerging, and they are getting backing. They're getting financial backing, and you can see them go from one stage to the next. So I suppose for people that are thinking about starting new businesses, I think it's a question of being brave enough to try and actually having confidence in the idea and trying to make it happen. And I think there are sort of more opportunities now than ever before to do that. And you've got the internet, you've got technology, so the overhead of actually starting a new business is lower than it would have been before. So you can go into flexible working space. You don't have to worry about taking a lease. If you go into flexible working, you've then got the opportunity to be working with similarly like-minded people. And I do hear a lot of interesting stories, and one that I particularly liked was a new business which has come up through Work Life, the flexible working operator. And somebody had sold their business, they'd gone into Work Life, thinking about what they might do next. Through that, they were, they started working with other people who were working in the space, formed a team, and started a new business. And so I think that sort of opportunity didn't exist before. It exists now, and I think if somebody's got an idea, they should go for it.
And obviously, with a lot of the panels that you have hosted or sat on as well at various events, is there anything? I think I saw your Future of PropTech last year hosting a very interesting debate, that involved a couple of the house builders. For those that are not in a position, I suppose, to break the entrepreneurial scene as much as they would like to, and give up their development business or their house building business, if they're an established SME. Is there something that you've identified that you think, do you know what, that keeps coming up time and time again? Example being, when we had our conference in May, the idea around, really looking at affordable housing in as many ways as possible to see where new entrants could come into the space and actually make it very exciting and very interesting, and also where there's so much demand as well. People keep trying to create products for something that they want to do, rather than really focusing on, as you were saying earlier, the problem or the biggest demand area. Is there something that you've sort of heard or identified through those panels that maybe you think, do you know what, if I was an SME house builder, if I was in that space and I had to stay in there, this is an angle I would potentially be considering at the moment?
I think off-site construction, a modular, is a really interesting area, and I've sort of watched it over the last couple of years. People have talked about it and said, well, this is the way we've got to go for a number of reasons. We've got to be smarter about the way we build. We've also got a skills gap, so we don't have the number of experienced bricklayers and skilled workers that we need. And I think the Sekisui deal with Urban Splash and Homes England,
Yes. Yeah.
you know, to me, I think that could be a tipping point, because we've got the, you know, one of the largest, could be the largest house builder in the world investing in a UK company, and we get, you know, their know-how and hopefully, you know, the ability to scale up. So it's been, you know, it's been there, and people have said yes, you know, that's the way to go. But I think you know, that could make, you know, that really could make a difference. So I'm really quite excited about that. So I think, you know, to see serious money going into those sort of operations will enable us to build smarter. And I mean, it's interesting, we were talking about pocket living, and you know, they've been using off-site construction for a high-rise building, and I think, you know, that is the way we're going to need to go. So I think it's a question of watch that space, really.
Interesting. Wonderful. Thank you.